Hi everyone, it's Lynn. I'm going to show you how I made a real pretty Christmas bell using this glass lampshade that I got at a yard sale. And the first thing I did was paint it. I used Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, and I did give this just one coat. Next, I took this candlestick, and I did cut that top piece off, the piece that the candle sits into, and I took a finial and I glued that on top. And I got this at a thrift store for $1. And once I made sure that that finial was secured on there good, I painted it. And I used that same Waverly chalk paint, and I gave this just one coat. And I did give it as full coverage as I could, but I made sure that I painted that finial really well because it was a different color, and I wanted to make sure it kind of looked even all throughout. But I am going to distress this, so I didn't go too crazy. Like I said, if I missed a spot here or there, it wasn't really that big of an issue. And once both of those pieces were dry, I kind of antiqued them a little bit. I took some antique wax and I used a chip brush and I just went over the surface. And once I got it on there, I took a paper towel and I kind of just blended it in, and it gave it kind of like this more of a off-whitish color with some areas that were a little bit darker. And I just kind of like blended it and then went back in with the brush and added some more and blended it until I was happy with the way that it looked. And when I was done with the candlestick, I dry brushed that antique wax over the lampshade as well. I didn't go quite as heavy with the wax on the lampshade. I just wanted it to be slightly lighter than the handle. Then when the candlestick was dry, I did go over it in some spots with some sandpaper, just on the areas that you would think would kind of age a little quicker than the rest of it. When I finished doing that, I did add a coat of Mod Podge over the candlestick and the lampshade. I mostly wanted to make sure I got the lampshade so that the paint wouldn't peel off at all. But for the candlestick, I did add it just so that they would have kind of the same sheen to them. And while both of those pieces were drying, I created a tag. I took this cardboard tag and I added a lot of water to it just to get it real soft so I could like scrunch it all up to make it look old. And then I sanded it just to try to get like maybe a couple of little layers off of it so it would be a little bit thinner. And I added some antique wax to it with a little bit more water. I didn't want it to be real dark. And when it was dry, I took a thin paintbrush and I went around all of the edges with that antique wax just to darken those up a little bit. And then I stamped a Christmas tree right to the center, and I used a smaller stamp of snowflakes just around the top of the Christmas tree. And now I'm going to put the bell together. So I used some E6000 and some hot glue around the top of the lampshade. And then I placed the candlestick right over top of it. And I did hold it down for a few seconds to make sure that hot glue was really holding it in place. And then I added some greenery to the bell, and I placed a very simple bow in the center of the greenery. I put a few pine cones in the middle of the bow, and then I just glued the tag on. And I really love the way that this turned out. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I hope you like it too, and I hope you give it a try. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.